Patch 26.15 is live, Season 3 has started, and Riot just rewrote Bel'Veth from the base stats up. This is the patch breakdown.
And it is a big one. There's a champion rework hiding inside a normal patch, 2 ranked changes that alter what you're even playing for, and a systems change in ARAM that quietly invalidates how you read a balance list.
Quick note before we start. This episode was generated with AI by Demates. The script is written by AI from Riot's official patch notes, and the voices you're hearing are synthetic. Every number we quote comes straight from the published notes, and we link all of it in the description.
Let's start with ranked, because this one changes incentives, not numbers. Aegis of Valor.
Right, Aegis of Valor used to do 2 things. Reduce your LP loss when you lost, and give you bonus LP when you won if you hit a minimum mastery score. Both of those are gone. Now it does exactly one thing. You win, you get double LP. No mastery requirement at all.
Why tear out the loss protection? That was the part people liked.
Because Riot decided it was pointing players at the wrong goal. Their words, the loss protection and mastery requirement created a secondary objective. Play for the grade, not necessarily for the win. And then bluntly, that's the opposite of what a ranked incentive should ask of you.
So farming your grade in a game you've already lost.
Exactly that. If you're down 20 kills and you're still building for damage stats because your mastery score protects your LP, the system built that. Riot says they want every teammate sharing one goal, which is trying to win. Refocusing Aegis entirely around victory is how they get there.
I'd flag the second order effect, surrender votes. Loss protection made playing out a dead game cheap. Take it away and the incentive to end at 20 flips hard.
That's the trade they've accepted. The other ranked change is duo queue at the top. Master players can still duo, but only with someone close to them in rank. Grandmaster, Challenger, and anyone with Grandmaster or Challenger MMR, no duo at all.
They tried this and pulled it back?
And graded their own homework, honestly. In Master, duos were generally manageable. In Grandmaster and Challenger, the pools are small and the skill extremes wide, so a duo has what Riot calls an outsized impact on game outcomes.
Okay, Bel'Veth. This is the headline, and it's not close.
It's a patchwork update, which means it's a rework wearing a patch notes costume, and there's a single thesis running through every number. Power moved out of levels 1 through 6 and into the late game.
Give me the base stats, because those are startling.
Attack speed goes from 0.85 down to 0.67. Attack damage from 60 to 55. Health from 610 to 580. Armor from 32 to 28. On paper, that reads like a demolition.
And it isn't?
It isn't, because of one line most people will scroll past. Her basic attack damage modifier goes from 75% to 100%. Bel'Veth's autos were only ever hitting for 3/4 of her AD. Now they hit for all of it.
So do the arithmetic for me at level 1.
Before, 60 AD at 75% is 45 damage per auto at 0.85 attacks per second. After, 55 AD at full value is 55 damage per auto at 0.67. Her level 1 damage per second is very slightly lower. Her damage per hit is 22% higher.
And every AD item she buys is now worth 1/3 more per swing than it used to be.
That's the real change. She's been converted from a fast, weak hits champion into a slower, full-value hits champion, which means she scales with attack damage far better than she did, and her level 3 invade is much worse. Riot even shrank her model 5% and retuned the attack animation to feel right at the lower attack speed.
than the Akyu, which is where the Inuit actually lived.
Void surge. The time between casts was a flat 1 second at every rank. It is now 4 seconds at rank 1, scaling down to 1 second at rank 5. At rank 1, that is a 4 times longer cooldown.
That's the entire early game.
Riot says so directly. The goal is making her Q at early levels function more like a regular dueling ability, in order to reduce just how heavily she can put certain champions behind with early invades. They also acknowledge the cost, that there's a subset of Bel'Veth players who love that capability, but broadly it was paying too many trade-offs for the rest of her audience.
What about her clear? The minion damage modifier on Q is deleted outright. It was 60 to 100% by rank, now it's just gone. Monster damage is flattened to a fixed 70, where it used to run from 55 at rank 1 up to 95 at rank 5. So her rank 1 jungle clear is marginally better, and her maxed clear is meaningfully worse.
Now the payoff. Because they took a lot away.
The ultimate. Endless Banquet's buff duration used to be 60 seconds unempowered, 180 empowered. Now, both are 45 seconds, 90 seconds, or permanent at 0, 40, and 80 stacks, respectively.
Permanent true form at 80 stacks.
Permanent. Riot frames it as the evolution fantasy. Having form until death when you have gotten enough stacks feels like a transformative yet exciting moment. That is the reward for surviving the new early game.
What else changed on the alt?
3 consistency fixes that matter more than they read. The passive now applies on every attack instead of every other. It's no longer removed when she swaps targets, and her Q and E no longer need her to have auto-attacked the target first.
That's a lot of friction gone.
It is, but the passive's true damage got gutted to pay for it. Rank 3 drops from 14 plus 12% bonus AD down to 6 plus 3%. Call it 30% less true damage, applied twice as often and far more reliably.
And the healing?
The heal per bonus health on her ult goes from 100, 150, 200 up to 100, 250, 400, with the scaling raised on both bonus AD and AP. At rank 3, that base value doubles. Same story on E. Royal Maelstrom's damage reduction was 35% at rank 1 and 55 at rank 5. Now it's 20 and 60. Worse early, better late. Every line in this rework says the same thing.
Let's do the nerf list. Riot named 5. Locke, Neferi, Riven, Silas, and Mordekaiser.
Locke's the interesting one because it's a shape change, not just numbers. His health drops to 620, and his Q loses 10 base damage at every rank, sure. But look at his W. The move speed scaled from 40 up to 60% by rank. It's now a flat 40 at all ranks.
Which kills the reason to max W second.
Precisely the stated goal. Riot wants to avoid W second max as optimal, as it gives him too much safety for the risks he should need to take. Flattening the move speed removes the incentive without touching the ability's identity. That's a clean lever.
Neferi.
The ult looks like a small nerf and is a large one. Damage goes from 150, 225, 300 at 120% attack damage to 125, 200, 275 at 100% bonus attack damage.
Total AD to bonus AD.
That's the whole nerf. Total attack damage includes her base. So at 200 total AD with 140 bonus, the old alt did 540, and the new one does 415. That's a 23% cut, not the 8% the base numbers suggest. Same swap on the per packmate damage. Riot's reasoning is that she's still strong, especially when she really gets the ball rolling with back-to-back-to-back ultimates.
Riven. And Riot blames an item?
They do, explicitly. Endless Hunger has given Riven an extremely potent new tool that fits her play pattern almost perfectly. And rather than nerf the item for everyone, they went at her ultimate's AD scaling, 25% down to 20, and wind slash from 60 through 180% down to 55 through 165.
Why the ult specifically?
Because Blade of the Exile's bonus AD feeds every other ability she has. Riot says targeting it will impact all her spells and how unstoppable her snowballing can feel. It's a nerf to her combo ceiling that barely touches her laning.
Silas and Mordekaiser are both walkbacks.
Straightforward ones. Silas got buffed in 26.12, and Riot says they moderately overshot. His Q first lash loses 20 base damage at rank 5. Mordekaiser is a full revert. Stolen stats go back from 13% to 10, with 2 seconds off his E cooldown in exchange. And there's a bug fix. Ulting a target whose health was above their post-reduction maximum could deal up to double damage. Riot sized the E buff around that fix, so Mord's quietly weaker than the notes read.
Buffs. Tanks, mostly.
Alistar gets 5 move speed. And the reasoning is a systems confession. Riot says that ever since the loss of mobility boots and symbiotic souls, he's failing to compete in the current meta, even though it favors roaming supports.
So an item removal left a hole, and they're patching it champion by champion.
That's the read. And Alistar probably isn't the only one. Maokai is a deliberate steer. His Q gets 10 more monster damage per rank, and the AP ratio goes 40 to 50%, all aimed at jungle. Riot says his top lane is not the greatest for all parties involved, which is about as close as patch notes get to saying, we'd like you to stop.
Volibear and Zac.
Volibear's Q cooldown drops from 14 at rank 1 to 12, with rank 5 unchanged. Classic shape, help the laner, don't raise the ceiling, which is exactly how Riot phrases it. Zac gets armor growth from 4.7 to 5.2, and a second off his E cooldown.
And Kai'Sa, the one non-tank.
Late game only. Her passive's caustic wound scaling goes from 4 to 24 by level up to 4 to 30. Riot's justification is that she remains weaker than expected, especially late game for a marksman who is supposed to hyperscale to make up for her short range.
Items and runes, quickly.
Bastion Breaker drops 200 gold to 3,000, and its shape charge true damage goes from 30 to 50. Riot says it's been near bottom pick rate since release by a wide margin and wants lethality users putting more of their gold into utility.
Terminus.
Finally scales. The Shadow on hit was a flat 30 magic damage. It's now 30 plus 10% bonus AD plus 10% AP. 50 instead of 30 at 200 bonus AD. Riot admits it had been more of a mid-game spike item than a true late-game scaling option. Yuntal Wild Arrows gets cheaper, 850 to 750, with attack speed up to 45%.
And the rune.
Jack of all trades loses adaptive force at both breakpoints, 10 and 25, down to 8 and 20. Riot's point is that stat diversity is easier to get from items now, so the rune was overpaying.
Last thing, and it's the one I'd actually flag as the sleeper. ARAM.
This is a systems change dressed as a balanced list. Champion damage modifiers in ARAM Mayhem used to apply only to spell and attack damage. They now apply to spell, attack, item, and augment damage.
which means the entire list below it reads wrong.
It does. And that's the trap. You'll scroll past 20 champions with lines like damage dealt 105% to 100% and read 20 nerfs. Those are mostly deletions. Riot says the new systemic coverage let them remove many existing champion-specific modifiers.
Anything that's a real change?
The minion damage restrictions coming off Hui, Malzahar, Teemo, and Ziggs, 60% back up to 100?
Yeah.
That's a genuine wave clear unlock. And Critical Missile got a real nerf because Riot found it a bit too reliable on Critical Strike ADCs.
Arena?
Enormous ultimate cooldown cuts. Twisted Fate's Destiny drops from 170 seconds to 40 at rank 1. Thresh's Box from 80 to 30 at rank 3. Crit over 100% now converts to Adaptive Force 1-to-1, and several augments had their level cap cut to 2.
Verdict. Who won this patch?
Late-game Bel'Veth players, if they survive the first 15 minutes, she no longer dominates. Jungle Maokai, Zac, and on-hit ADCs generally because Terminus finally works as the capstone it was sold as.
Losers?
Anyone whose plan was an early Bel'Veth invade, Nefiri, harder than the notes look, Riven's ceiling, and anyone quietly farming mastery grade in losing ranked games, that strategy no longer exists.
That's patch 26.15. Everything we quoted is from Riot's official notes linked in the description, and this show is unofficial and not affiliated with Riot Games.
We'll be back the day 2616 drops.
From demades.ai, thanks for listening.